Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into the world of operations management. We're taking a look at some RoleCatcher research today, and let me tell you, there's some really interesting stuff in here.
Definitely some eye-opening insights, even for someone who follows this field closely.
It seems like you're not just interested in the job description, you want the full download on what it takes to be an operations manager, right?
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide, Operations Manager, is a great place to start.
Totally. One thing that stood out to me was how they describe the role as ensuring the entire company engine runs smoothly.
Yeah, it's more than just, checking off daily tasks. It's about orchestrating all the moving parts.
Right. It's almost like being a conductor of an orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide really emphasizes the strategic aspect of the role, going beyond the day-to-day to shape company policies. This is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I'm curious about that. What sort of policies are we talking about here?
Well, for example, think about the growing focus on things like supply chain ethics and sustainability.
Right.
The guide actually highlights how operations managers might be involved in creating policies related to ethical sourcing or minimizing environmental impact. Really important stuff.
Wow, that adds a whole new layer to it. It's not just about efficiency, it's about responsibility too.
Exactly. You're responsible for making sure the operation is aligned with company values.
It's like this role has a social conscience now.
In a way, yes. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, but what about the actual day-to-day? What's the work environment really like for an operations manager?
Yeah, and the guide doesn't hold back. It gives a very clear picture of what to expect, from busy factory floors to those perfectly organized warehouses.
Oh yeah, it definitely covers the variety.
And it even talks about the intensity of strategic office spaces.
Right. And they're upfront about the challenges too long hours and high-pressure situations come with the territory.
So it seems like you need to be comfortable with a fast-paced environment.
Absolutely. And adaptable, too. This field is constantly evolving, especially with technology changing so rapidly.
You've got to be able to keep up, that's for sure. It makes you wonder what specific skills are essential for success in this type of role. And the guide does a great job of breaking that down.
It does. And I have to say, some of the skills they highlight might surprise you.
Oh, really? Like what? Fill us in.
Well, they have this whole pros and cons list.
Oh, I love a good pros and cons list. Always gets right to the point.
And it's refreshing. They don't sugarcoat it. They're upfront about the high stress levels, the long hours.
Yeah, gotta be honest about those things.
But then they balance it out with the good stuff. High level of responsibility, potentially a really good salary.
Right, the trade-offs.
Exactly. But what struck me were the core skills. They emphasize active listening, critical thinking, monitoring, and you know what? Those are fundamental no matter what your career stage is.
It's so easy to get caught up in the specifics of a job and forget those foundational things.
Totally. Okay, so picture this. You're an operations manager.
Right.
You're trying to optimize a production line.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So you need to listen. Actively listen to your team on the ground, understand their challenges.
Got those insights.
Right. Then you got to put on your critical thinking hat. Analyze the data, find the bottlenecks. What are the potential solutions here?
So you're like a detective trying to solve the puzzle.
And that's where the monitoring comes in. You're not just solving a problem, you're tracking everything, looking for ways to improve, maybe suggest some automation upgrades based on what the data is telling you.
It's dynamic, always changing.
Always. Sounds like a lot of responsibility, but also incredibly rewarding.
To see those efforts pay off.
Absolutely. Now, let's say you're on board with these skills. You're ready to climb that career ladder. The career stages section is amazing.
Oh, tell me more.
It's like a roadmap from entry level all the way up to leadership.
I love a good roadmap. No getting lost.
You start as an operations associate, assisting with daily tasks, learning the ropes, providing support. It's all about building that foundation.
Getting your feet wet.
Then you move up to operations coordinator. Now you're taking on more, implementing strategies, maybe even managing a small team.
So you're like conducting a section of the orchestra now.
That's a great way to put it. And as you gain experience, you become operations supervisor, then operations manager, and who knows, maybe even director of operations someday.
Wow, the possibilities.
Each step comes with more responsibility, more leadership, and of course, usually a higher salary.
Music to my ears. But how do you stand out? What can someone do to really accelerate their growth in operations management?
They actually talk about this in the guide, certifications. They can be a game changer in this competitive job market.
Certifications, huh? Like what specifically for operations management?
Yeah, there are a few they mentioned that are really valuable. The PMP, that's Project Management Professional, always in high demand. And then there's the CSCP, Certified Supply Chain Professional.
Okay, I'm writing these down.
Having those on your resume shows employers you're serious, that you have the knowledge to back it up.
It's like leveling up your skills, proving you're ready for more.
Right. And speaking of leveling up, the guide also talks about continuous learning. Even when you've landed your dream job, you can't just stop there.
The learning never ends.
Exactly. So how do you stay ahead? They recommend checking out professional organizations like APCS and ISM.
I've heard of those. They're big in the industry, right?
Oh, yeah. APCS is great for supply chain management specifically, and then ISM is broader, covers operations and procurement.
So it's about finding your niche and connecting with other professionals.
Totally. Attending events, webinars, it's all about learning from the best, sharing ideas.
Building that network, tapping into that collective knowledge.
Precisely. This guide, it's not just about understanding the role, it's about giving you the tools to thrive in it.
Love that. RoleCatcher really went above and beyond here. But let's talk about the RoleCatcher platform itself. What features would be especially helpful for someone pursuing this career path? It really does feel like they've thought of everything. Remember those thousands of interview questions?
Oh yeah, talk about overwhelming, right?
Just thinking about it makes me nervous. But RoleCatcher actually lets you practice those questions. Right?
Exactly. They have them all organized by role, by skill set. It's like having a cheat sheet for your interview.
Oh, that does make me feel a little better. But it's one thing to have the questions, it's another to know how to answer them well.
I totally agree. And that's where their AI feedback comes in. You can actually practice answering on the platform, and it analyzes your delivery, your content, everything, like having a personal coach in your back pocket.
That's amazing. I can see how helpful that would be, especially for building confidence.
For sure. And don't forget their CV and resume builder. Your resume, it's often the first impression you make.
And with all these automated systems scanning applications these days, it's got to stand out.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI-powered builder, it helps you optimize everything, keywords, formatting, get past those automated gatekeepers.
Sound like it takes out the guesswork.
It does.
So for anyone out there who's feeling ready to take that next step in their operations management career, RoleCatcher seems like the way to go.
I'd say it's a must-have for navigating this whole world.
All right, let's do a quick recap before we wrap up. We covered a lot of ground today on operations management, and wow, there's a lot to it.
Definitely more than meets the eye. We talked about the strategic thinking involved, the need for adaptability, resilience, and of course those essential skills, active listening, critical thinking, monitoring. Those are key, no matter what stage you're at.
And even though this field is always changing, especially with automation and AI becoming more prevalent, it's a super exciting time to be in operations management.
Absolutely. So, as you embark on this journey, use those resources, connect with people in the field, and never stop learning. You never know. You might be the one to come up with the next big innovation in operations management.
And if you do, come back and tell us all about it. Until then, keep on diving deep, everyone.